Alrighty, before we get into the specs of this base, let's just take a quick tour. Alright, this base is nice and simple. We got two Satori's external TCs on the outside. In terms of disconnectable external TC pods, it literally does not get better than this, so I'll throw a link to the video in the top right corner so you can learn how to make them if you don't know. But this is how you disconnect them, they're pretty cool. It's literally that easy. All you need to do to reconnect it is place a floor frame just like that. Got a very basic gatehouse for easy entry into your compound. Inside your compound, you can pretty much lay out whatever you want. There's a decent amount of space. You can fit a few furnaces as well. Right next to our front door, we've got a roof bunker. These sheet metal roof bunkers double as an extra layer of honeycomb. They've got a decent amount of loot space, and the shotgun traps stop anyone from going in. All you have to do to close it is shoot it out with your AK or demolish it with a hammer. Your front door is just a basic double door airlock. You can add an armored door if you want as well for more protection. The space is extremely simple. It's just a hexagon core with garage doors spammed throughout the entire thing. As long as you utilize barbecues, you can fit pretty much everything you need in here. Going back up, we'll go to our shooting floor / bed floor. This floor is a little bit more open, but it's spammed with garage doors just in case. Got some super cheap peek downs using windows and embrasures just to guard the compound. A lot of times people try to grub Solos furnaces and compounds, so these peaks should be just enough to get them to fuck off. Anyways, these also double as our roof peak ups. These will be useful in case you have a mini on your roof and someone decides to try and steal it. Going up to the roof, we've got enough space to land one mini, and we've got shotgun traps protecting it. We've got a couple ramps for long distance encounters, and you can even peek into your compound with them. Now going down into the core, it's also, yet again, very simple. These hexagon bases are great because you could just throw them down pretty much anywhere, and they're really cheap to get a starter base down with. The idea behind this core is just to cram as much loot into this bitch as possible. Anyway, last but not least, we've got another roof bunker on the opposite side by the other entrance. It's got the same amount of loot and the same storage configuration, and it also has the shotgun traps to help keep your loot a little bit safer. Anyways, let's dive into the specs of this Rust base design. Including deployables, this bad boy is going to cost you 24k stone, 26k metal frags, and 295 HQM. The upkeep on the main TC is going to be about 3k stone, 2k metal, and 50 HQM. And last but not least, if you want to take every piece of loot out of this Rust base design, it's going to cost you about 40 to 50 rockets. And last but not least, this video's comment shoutout goes to Not Kima, who says, new base equals poggers. I want to start shouting out my favorite comments again, so comment something funny down below or just something cool, and I'll shout you out in the next video. Anyways, let's get into the build. Alright, so we're going to start by placing down 5 triangle foundations and stopping at the 5th one. Place down a wall frame and then wall off the rest of the hexagon. Upgrade everything on the base to stone if you can. And once you're ready, we'll pop down a wooden double door as the front door. This starter base might be small, but for a solo it's perfect because it's easy to reinforce. You're going to place 2 double doors next to each other, have the front door opening inwards and then the second door opening outwards. Next, step over to the back triangle and place down your TC. After this, you can configure your starter pretty much however you want. I like to place a shelf here early so we have less things to pick up later. Place down a twig window frame so you don't accidentally place boxes onto the border of the foundations. After that, you can set up your starter unit exactly how you want it. You can fit your furnaces, adequate storage, a level 1 workbench, and a sleeping bag all into these 5 triangles. Once you've added all your essentials to this little base, it should look a little something like this. Once you're ready to expand, we'll be expanding upwards. Right off your front double door, we'll add a chute leading up to a second floor. Eventually, we'll be using half-height triangles as the jump up, but for now, we can use a furnace or a ladder to get up to the first floor since we don't have garage doors yet. Place down a twig single door as a point of reference. This will help us lay the foundations for our roof bunkers to make sure they're not splashable. We're going to set those foundations down, that'll double as our jump up, and then we're going to set up our external TCs. These are perfect for a jump up because we're going to be putting shelves in there later anyway to hold our loot, so we might as well add them early to double them as a jump up. If you're going to upgrade these to stone, make sure you upgrade both the foundation and the half-height triangle. Add one more triangle foundation right under where your new front door will be, and then you have the foundation set for your roof bunker and a nice jump up to get into your base. Next, we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. This setup is all surprisingly cheap as it's only going to cost you about 6k stone. Once you've got a little bit more materials, go out to the foundations we just set up and begin setting up your new TCs. All you gotta do is add 1 twig triangle and then build out 8 squares and cap it off with 1 more triangle. Leave the triangle you placed on the end and then demolish the squares while building back with triangles. You should build back in game the way I do it on screen. If you do it this way, you won't have to use any tools to destroy the foundations, you can just use building privilege. Feel free to slow it down if you need a better look. But if you did it right, there's going to be a small gap in between this last square and your 2 triangles. For now, you can upgrade the square to stone and then just leave it there and do the exact same thing on the other side. Once you set up your gap foundation on the other side, build off 1 square, upgrade it to stone, and make your gatehouse. You can do whatever kind of gatehouse you want, but I prefer the 1 square dual double door gatehouse with the windows on the side. Add your windows and doors, then you can build out 4 squares. After that, build 3 triangles off the last square. For these TC pods, I'm going to be upgrading everything to their final grade just for simplicity. When you're building the walls, make sure on the side of the triangle that's touching the square, you put 2 half walls. If you don't do this, the TCs won't disconnect when you place down your roof. If you don't understand, you can watch Mini Satori's video that I'll have linked in the description. To make this thing as tanky as possible, put 2 window frames down. In the end game, you're going to want to use armored windows to seal off this TC, but in the early game, you obviously won't have those, so I'm just using normal windows. You can place a box on the windowsill for some accessible storage. I like to put a hammer and some guns in there just in case I need to spawn into this side room and flank anyone who's camping my base. But yeah, just seal this bitch off with some strengthened glass windows. Make sure to upgrade them to reinforce later, and you're all set. Everything around the TC triangle should be metal, and then every other upgraded wall should be stone. To finish this off, just go outside and add your floor frames that connect it to your gatehouse. Upgrade them all to metal so they can't be easily broken. And of course, you can get rid of your foundations as well. Make sure you do this on both sides and your little base should look something like this. The next step is to set up our compound so we can expand the rest of our base in peace. We already have most of the foundations placed down, but just place a couple more twig foundations where you're going to honeycomb in the future, just for a point of reference. You want to be positive that you're going to have enough space for large furnaces after you wall off your base. Another thing, before you honeycomb right outside the wall that leads to your TC, make sure that you upgrade that foundation to armored. If you seal it off now, you're not going to be able to reach it later. I didn't do it in the video, but I would also upgrade the wall to armored as well, so you don't have to move anything to reach it. Whenever I place walls for a compound, I like to do the ones that are right next to my gatehouses first. I also like to place the walls kind of in the middle of the windows so I can see both inside and outside of my compound from within the gatehouse. Other than this, you can place the walls however you'd like, just make sure that nobody can build in from the outside. Compound walls are very easy to screw up, so make sure you practice these on a build server before you do it in a real game. For the barricades on top of your gatehouse, just use whichever ones you can get your hands on for now. If you use anything below metal, just try to get your hands on a level 2 workbench and metal barricades as soon as possible. Anyways, at this point, it's time to keep expanding upward. Place a doorway directly across from your chute, and then wall off the rest of the second floor. This floor will basically be identical to your ground floor, although instead of loot, you can put some utility items on this floor. In the back corner, make sure you add a chute leading up to your second floor. At this point, I'm just going to assume that you should have a level 2 workbench, so we'll start using garage doors. Climb up into your chute and add an entrance onto the third floor. I'd recommend sealing it off with a double door, as this is going to be your roof access for the time being. At this point, I would recommend moving workbenches, furnaces, and any other extra storage up to your second floor, so that way you can be a little bit more organized. I'd also spend this time fortifying and adding garage doors wherever you can. A lot of times when you set up a compound, you immediately become a target, or just a point of interest for a lot of players. But yeah, use this point to do a big reorganization and spread out different things throughout your base. Also, as soon as you get that compound up, smack down those large furnaces and get that metal smelting, because you're going to need a lot. In order to avoid wasting stone that we'll be using on our shooting floor, wait till you have enough metal to get your roof bunkers in. Once you've got a bunch of metal smelted, it's time to add the roof bunkers. To complete the bunkers, just put metal walls around the foundations that we set up earlier. To set up the bunker, all you have to do is place a wall with the hard side facing outward off the square foundation. Since this wall isn't technically connected to the other walls, it'll change shape when you place a roof next to it. Since it's not connected though, there's going to be some gaps that we'll have to cover up. There's a top gap that we'll cover with a floor frame. Upgrade the wall to stone and then look up and you'll be able to clip a floor frame through the wall. I don't know why, but this only works when the wall is upgraded to stone. You can't place the wall frame through any other wall grade. Once you place the floor frame so that it covers the gap, you can then upgrade them to metal. Next, there's two side gaps. These ones are a really easy fix though, there's no fucking secret to it. Just open up the bunker, go inside, and then you can place two metal frames. You have to upgrade the frames to the same build grade as the walls around them, so that way the corner will stick out a little more and they'll have that little conditional piece. If the piece doesn't stick out, try rotating them and then it should work. But yeah, as you can see, the gaps are covered up. You can't shoot anything through the bottom TC gaps either. Last thing we have to do to protect from soft sides, put a ramp on top of the square foundation. Make sure you upgrade it to metal as well, of course, just to keep everything the same, and then put a low wall on this side on the higher end of the ramp. After that, you have a fully functional external roof bunker. For the max security, make sure you add garage doors where those wall frames are, so that way if raiders come in through the sides, they'll have to go through two garage doors to get to the other side of the loot. But yeah, you can configure these however you want. Just make sure you have shotgun traps pointing towards the twig, so if anyone gets in, then they shut when someone tries to enter. But yeah, go around to the other side of your base and do the exact same thing. This will definitely help boost your offline raid costs, so yeah, hopefully you'll be able to sleep a little better. This is now the second reminder to make sure you upgrade these to high quality metal before you honeycomb around them, because that's what we're about to do, so make sure you do that. But yeah, once you got your bunkers set up, start adding honeycomb around the sides of your base. The bunkers themselves already honeycomb most of the first floor, so you just have to do two walls. Now that you have your bunker, you can add an airlock to your front door as well. If you don't plan on finishing the base in this session, I'd also recommend just upgrading the core to armored now so you have a little bit more offline raid protection. At this point, you can go up to your roof and add honeycomb around the entire hexagon. We're going to want 2 floors of honeycomb here. But yeah, make sure you honeycomb on all sides of the hexagon so your second floor is fully honeycombed. You might notice the footage is a little weird from here on out. Sanctuary crashed twice while I was building this, and the autosaving kind of rolled me back a little bit, so I might show certain things twice, but I just want you guys to understand how to build this rust-based design. For extra protection, you can upgrade the floor on the main hexagon to metal. Next, we'll add windows on 3 corners, starting with the one to the right of your roof exit. Do it on every other corner so they kind of form a little triangle. On all the sections in between, you can place normal walls. One of these areas will be space for a bed, and then the other one will be the chute to the roof. In all the sections with the windows, place a half wall and then place a floor triangle. These will allow you to get lower angles into your compound. Don't forget to honeycomb the chute up to the shooting floors so they can't easily rocket out your access. Place floors over the shooting floor. I would recommend using metal instead of stone like I did. On each of the 3 sections with windows, place 1 full wall, and then place a half wall to the right, then place a triangle, and then get rid of the half wall and place another full wall. Do this on each of the 3 window sections and we'll create our peek ups. Place a window frame on the chute up to the roof, then place a siren light so you can hop on top of it and see what's going on your roof. Once you've made all 3 of these, make sure every single one of them is roofed off. Figure out which side you want your chute to be on, then place a floor frame down there so you can place a ladder hatch. This will be your roof access unless you want to put a garage door on top of it. Personally though, I like just the hatch so there's more space to land on the roof. Seal any holes on the roof and then you're all set. That's your shooting floor basically. To get the embrasures on, go up to the roof and you'll be able to reach the windows. Finish off your roof, just place triangle roofs on each of the open triangles. You can do it without no clip, don't worry, I'm just lazy. I'd also recommend upgrading your roof to sheet metal so it's not super cheap to blow through. But also upgrade the walls where your bed's gonna be to metal as well, so that's not super cheap either. But yeah, all you have to do is place your deployables and this base is pretty much complete. I'd recommend just cramming it with storage to make it fit your needs. And yeah, if you want to see what I did with all the deployables, I'll leave a sanctuary code for the base I built in the video in the description so you can check it out. And yeah, but yeah guys, I hope this Rust base design works out well for you, and that's it. Peace.